Coming up, absolutely spanking music. Some of the best, some of the absolute best. So I'm pretty crap at this game. It's on the wobbly side. I've just been shot. We're dead. Seems a bit weird. It works perfectly. Unlimited energy. Hello! I've recently dusted off my old 64 and played a few games and completely forgot how hard they were. Virtually impossible. So I thought, let's make a video, see if we can get some infinite energy and show you kind of how to hack into these games and see how easy it is, or hard, I have no idea. So anyway, the one I've tried, or the one I'm trying here is Rambo, one of my favourite games of all time. I'm sure you've seen it, you know it, you've probably played it. Lots have been written about it. Fantastic 64 game, perfect for the machine, makes the most of the hardware, buttery smooth scrolling, multiplex sprites, good colour, awesome soundtrack from Martin Galway, really one of the best 64 tracks, in fact, probably one of the best 8-bit tunes ever. Very orchestral, suits the movie, well, comes from the movie, it's very similar to the music in the movie. You go and watch the film and you'll find out. Brilliant piece of music, really fits the game. So, quick introduction. What we're going to do then is get into the game, get into the debugger, see if we can work out how the infinite energy can be done easily. There will be a poke out there, I'm sure. I can probably find it quite easily. It's far more fun to get the debugger out and see if I can work it out myself. So, if you would like to get an idea on the way of how some of the Commodore 64 features work, particularly around video memory, sprites, that kind of thing, you'll probably learn a thing or two. So let's get on with it and we'll see where we get to. Hopefully infinite energy, and then I can play the game without worrying too much and actually finish it without tearing my hair out. So let's get on with it. Let's see if we can get this Rambo sorted. Debugger, GUI. Okay, 64's loaded. And let's see if we can open a disk image, Rambo. So we'll just attach the disk which has got Rambo on it. Hello, come on. Okay, so 64 now believes it's got a disk in it. Double check. Yes, indeed. So if we now pain in the arse. Does not want to it really does not want to load disk image. Let's see what we can do again. So that should be load attached disk image, and it's okay. Let's do it the hard way. So the slow way, see what happens. Yeah, I think we can see it there, just load into memory. Very slowly. This will be using the BIOS or the kernel routines rather than just blasting it into memory using the debugger, but it will get there. And that looks like we're depacking. It seems to have written it from top memory backwards. Kind of makes sense. It doesn't overwrite itself. But hey, there we go. We have a Rambo up and running. Okay, so what I'll do first of all is just have a quick play through the game and I'll show you what I'm trying to do. So if we just go into full screen, probably better. So, as I said, I'm pretty crap at this game. Joystick on. So I'm pretty crap at this game, as you'll see. It doesn't help with a crappy keyboard, but never mind. So we can get into the game. So my approach is going to be let's get started. Brilliant music there from Mike Galway. Absolutely spanking music. Some of the best, some of the absolute best. Right, so if you look, pause. So what you see is, as I get hit, as the main character gets hit, the energy bar drops. So rather than numeric counts as you get with most games, we've got this nice fancy graphical energy bar. So as a slow get hit, you can see it just inverts it. Starts out fully yellow with hollow bits, I guess, and then it just inverts it. Then it gets down to this side, boom, we're dead. So what I'm thinking is, if I can work out where these sprites are, I'm pretty sure the sprites because they're on top of the background. We can work out where the sprites are, where the data is. From there, if we can work out what changes that data, so what essentially changes the energy bar. Is it just an animation? I suspect it's not. I imagine it's calculated. Simple logic inversion there. So if we can find the code that does that, we should be away. So that's what I'm going to look at. And just see if we can find out from there where the energy that your character has is stored. As you can see, I'm dead. It doesn't take long to start this game, I'm afraid. More of that cracking music. So that's what we're going to do. One of the important things, or one of the things I need to be able to do is search through the code and see if I can find certain memory locations. I can find where certain memory locations are accessed from. And to do that, within this debugger, you've got full view. So at the moment, you can see the code over here. This window on the left is showing you what's being executed. So the program counter up here tells you what address we're executing, and then the instructions are just put up here on the screen, which is really good. So if you just pause it, so our music kick off the sound again. So you can see wherever basically pause it, you can see which instruction we're on. You can step through individual instructions, which is really useful. And then you can see, trace through the code, see what's going on, see how things are working. And then on top of that, you can actually see the memory, which is where we are over here. So this is an accurate dump, or a complete dump of memory, full 64K access if you need it. Over here, we get a graphical representation of that data. So if this is character data, then that's good. We can see it over here, which is really useful. And you can turn that into multicolor mode or have it in monochrome mode, which, as you can see over there, some sprites. That looks like the main Rambo. It's kind of like the outline of the sprite. It looks like these multiple sprites. Making up one sprite, so it gives you a slightly higher resolution, which is really clever. And got some sprite definitions here, which is really useful, so you can see that as well. So yeah, so we've got access to all the information I think we need on this one. So the first port call, I think, is going to be, where are those energy sprites? Where do they reside in memory? And we'll start by investigating where they are on the screen. So what does the big ship get that? Where does it get that data from? How does it point to it? So we'll start with that kind of thing. But before we do that, what I want to do is do an entire memory dump. So we've got all of the code. We've got that out into a text file separately, so I can search through it. Just easily search through it and look at the code without kind of relying on this little window here. And I can also add annotations to it, so that's going to be potentially quite useful as well. So we will do that. So first thing is, let's see if we can get a dump of all the code out of this thing, and we'll do that next. And setting memory, I think we need to go into the monitor console. There we go. So that function here. There we go. Oh, and where else we can see there. Save. Okay, so save. So if we want to do save, what are we going to do? Oh no, disassemble memory. So we want to disassemble, which is D option here. So we want to disassemble from. So if we go from 00 to start memory, which is not a lot of use because it's the that includes the 0 page, but then we'll just do the full memory. We're on a powerful laptop, so it doesn't matter. Full memory, full 64K, and we will call it Rambo dis.txt. Assembly.txt. Okay, see what happens. Oh, there we go. File has been saved apparently. Okay, so that took a bit of finding. It does save it, but it seems to save it to the root folder on that drive. I'm not entirely sure why I have disassembly. So here we go. This is the full 64K dumped into text file. So essentially disassemble, we've got access to all the code. There's a load of data in there that's not proper code obviously, but doesn't matter, I've got the full thing. So if I wanted to search through and find something, I could look for, say we're just trying to, I don't know, so we're doing a disable interrupts. Well, there we go. There's a lovely few of these no doubt knocking around. If I wanted something that was looking for a specific register, I could do a check for, say, DC 01. It just means I can hop around the code really quickly and find things like that, which is really useful. I should be able to add I think I can add a file to it, which basically change all of these addresses into things like big registers and that kind of thing, but I don't really care. I'm not interested in too many more registers at the moment, and they're easy to look up anyway if you need to. So now I've got the file, I can put annotations in the file, I can put comments and things in there, which is really useful. So let's get that out of the way. Let's go back to the main view. So what I'm going to use here is to try and, first of all, is work out where this sprite is, or the energy sprite, right, and what it's actually doing. So if we go to the view, we can pick that one. So this is really good. This gives us we've got the memory over there, disassembly, we've got a lot of big information, which is really useful. So this is the bit that's really going to help us. On top of that, I can actually trace the raster beam across the screen, which is where this cursor thing is. You can also leave it behind if you want to, which again is another really useful feature. I think we can turn it off so it's then back to flexible. So essentially what I can do here is I can simulate me being the raster control, so I'm going down the screen. And you can see there's a raster interrupt there at some point. Some funky things are happening there, and that'll be obviously controlling the scroll in the lower half of the screen as it moves up. So we just restart that one. There you go. So it's a bit on the wobbly side, but you can see that scrolly thing there. There's obviously a raster interrupt around there somewhere. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant for this stuff. What we'll do is let's start the game again, if I can. So let's start the game. Bubble bomb, daft name. These boxes, the red box, that's just showing you where the sprites are, if you haven't seen this before. So let's start the game. And we're off now. Let's pause it. So what we can see here is we've clearly got, in a game frame, we've clearly got more than 8 sprites. As you would expect, most games around this time were using multiple sprites. Now, the energy bar at the bottom, so this cursor again is where the raster beam is. So even though we're reusing sprites from further up the screen, if you look at these definitions here, you can see them change as I move down the screen. So you see that character there on the right hand side over here. He just appears when the raster interrupt triggers and moves a sprite into that position. So just before the sprite appears, you can see there's obviously a raster interrupt around about this point, which is turning that guy on, and it's saying the sprite to look at that definition. And the debugger is just showing us what that definition is, which is really useful. So as we come down the screen, we'll see other characters or other sprites move into place. There's another one, so it's just turning that one on just as the beam gets close to him. The main character's on all the time. I assume he's going to be whichever sprite, I'm not sure which one it is, but he appears to be on all the time. We'll come down, 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 down. And then as we get to the bottom, we reuse the main, we reuse, reuse one of the Rambo sprites. So anyway, we get to the bottom, we can see we've got 2 sprites here. They look like they're horizontally expanded. That's showing the energy bar. And you can see the definition appear over here. So down there, let's just lock the raster. So the raster is now locked, so we can see what definitions we've got on here. So this looks like it's sprite 0 and sprite 1, showing this energy score. How many lines? Is that 8 lines? It looks like it's 8 pixels across, and then is that 8 lines, or is it only 7. Do we have a zoom mode? Yes, we do. There we go. Okay, 1. Can we zoom in and out? I thought we could zoom in and out. Let's see if there's another. Monitor. Vic edit. That Vic editor might be useful. No, maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay. Paint blocked. Okay, whatever. Alright, okay, there we go. So let's have a look here. You can see it's clearly sprites. It's not on the character boundaries. So we've got 1. So I think we can see it's definitely expanded. It's high res expanded sprites. You see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pixels in a character. So that's obviously expanded. It's in monochrome, it's not in multicolor, so it's definitely expanded. We can check the Vic settings at some point, but let's not worry about that. So anyway, this energy bar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's seven lines, and we've got what, 3 characters across. That's going to be 1 byte, 2 bytes, so it's 3 bytes for that sprite, 3 bytes for that sprite, times 7. So we're going to have 21 bytes for this side of the energy, and same again for this, which is what we needed to know. Okay, so let's head back here, in fact we'll use a slightly, it might be a bit clearer. Okay, so back here, so raster beams, lock it back down there so we've got the right sprites we're talking about. And what can we see? So here are the sprite pointers. So sprite pointers, they tell you what data each sprite is pointing to. Now, this is sprite 0 and sprite 1. So we've got a pointer of 10 and a pointer of 11. These are in hex. So hex 10 is 16, hex 11 is 17, so it's not 10 as in decimal 10. But what we can see here is that's pointing to 10. So to work out what memory address that's actually pointing to, each sprite has 64 bytes, or so each sprite takes up 63 bytes. Call it 64. I think it's just rounded, and then essentially the sprite pointer just points to one of those 64 byte boundary memory locations, if that makes sense. So get over the calculator. We're in decimal mode for this one, which is unusual, but anyway, so if you think about the Vic, the Vic chip can see 16k of memory. Now sprite pointer, you've got 256 possibles from 0 to 255. So if you had a sprite pointer of, for the sake of argument, 0, multiply that by 64 bytes for a sprite, that means it's 0. So a sprite pointer of 0, your sprite definition will start 0. If you had, say, a sprite pointer of 8 times 64, your sprite data, the pixel data, would start at 512, which is hex 200. So as you can see there, if your highest sprite was 255, multiply that by 64, so this is the start of the sprite data, is 16320, which if you add 64 to that, takes you clearly to the end of the 16k bank, 16384. So that's how the sprite pointers work. So in our case, what we're looking for here is what sprite pointers have we got there. So if we look at that sprite 0, we've got 10, which again, that 10 is in hexadecimal. So let's go back in hex mode. So we've got sprite pointer of 10, and that needs to be 10 times 64 bytes for the sprite, which is hex 40. So that gives us a location of 400. So in hexadecimal, the sprite data that we've got here is starting at 440. 400, hex 400. And the sprite next to it, this side of the energy bar, is pointer 11, so that's going to be obviously the same as that, which is 440. It's basically an extra 40 on there, so that's going to be hex 440. So I'll just start a text file on this just to write a few things down. In fact, what we'll do is I'll just use the disassembly file. Okay, so we've got the energy sprites. So if I can type correctly, energy sprites are 0 and 1. And energy sprites. The definition is, don't know why I'm commenting this out because I'm not going to assemble it, but never mind. So that's going to be hex 4400 and, oh sorry, it's hex 400 and hex 440. That's what we said, wasn't it? Oh, there's the calculator, there's the calculator, there we go. Yeah, hex 400 and hex 440. Now, that's 400 and 440, but that's from the offset of the VIC bank, so the VIC chip only sees 16K chunk of memory. So we need to find out which chunk of memory the VIC is looking at. And over here, you can see the game's working fine, and we're actually pointing at 4000. So that's the base memory of the VIC chip. So what we need to do to this 400 is we add 4000 to it. So the address of the data for that energy sprite is actually 4000 and 4440. And that 4000, that's essentially the 16384, so that starts at 16K in the memory bank, which I think is the second, that's the second option. Don't think you can use the first option because you've got 0 page there, but anyway, it's in the second one. So it runs from 16K to 32K is where the VIC is working, or what it's looking at. So long story short, that means we need to be looking for the sprite definition at hex 4400. So let's just move on to a slightly different view. See if we can get, there we go. So we've got small memory here. Now I think that's high definition data. So we'll turn off multicolor. There we go. Over here, Control G. Let's go to 4400. See what we've got. Aha! ENE, which, as you can see, is exactly the same as what we've got there on the screen. And the 4440, if we go down here, that is the RGY, part of energy, so this is the second sprite. As you can see there, hopefully, if I can zoom in on that one. Any way to zoom? I don't think I can zoom in. But you can see there that energy definition is exactly the same as what we've got over here. So what we know now is we've got, in fact, let's just restart the game, and then as I get hit by more bullets, you'll see that change here as well as on the screen. Let's just start that off. There you go. If we go back to the 4400, you can see the energy. Its energy's gone there as well, all the way back to there. So we know what the game's doing is that there is some code somewhere that's writing, it's changing that definition so we can see it on the screen. Now if we know where it's changing the definition on the screen, it's getting that information from somewhere. So it's reading an energy score, so it's got a memory location that's holding what in it, what our current energy level is. So if we can find out where it updates, we can find out where it's getting that energy value from, and hopefully that will tell us which memory location the energy is being held in. So we're going to have a look at that next and see if we can find out where that is. So what I'm going to look at in the source code, I'm going to look for any routines that access memory 4400 or 4440. So let's start with 4400 to start with. See what we find. So we've got, obviously that's my comment, that's pretty useless. So in the code itself, some of this looks a bit knackered for some reason. Let's just move that around. Okay, right. Okay, so I've got a routine here. So let's just put a comment on here. This is something to do with energy level, probably. So go into this address OC72. Things happen. Then we return from there, so that's the end of the routine. Let's just comment out so we've got a good idea of which bit we're looking at now. Okay, and then let's have another look, see what else we can find. And there's another one down here, which I think ends there. Let's just put a comment on there, just so it's easier to see what we're doing. So it's loading data from 4400 and then storing it back there. Doing an exclusive OR in the middle. I think this is probably something to do with inverting that data. So I suspect this is probably where it's actually updating it when you get hit or you get shot, whatever it's called. Let's see if we can find the start of this routine. So the last return was up here, so this is probably the start of the routine. So is this something else to do with energy? Boom, boom, boom. Question mark, question mark. I suspect it definitely is. Okay, so we've got 4400, 4400. Okay, let's go down, see if there's any more. What's that one? SBC. No, this isn't improv code. This is just data that looks a bit like code. You can tell it's just all of this is just junk. There's no RTS or anything. Anything else down there? Okay, now so there's only 3 occurrences anyway. Okay, so I think we've narrowed in on it quite happily. So we've got this routine that does something, and we've got this routine that does something. Let's put a few more lines on there so I can easier to see. Okay, so we've got that routine there, and we've got this routine up here. So let's see what let's see what this one is doing. So no idea when this one gets called, but what we've got, LDX14. Now I did say here we've got 7 lines and 3 bytes across, 7 lines down. So that's going to be 21 bytes for this, and then 21 bytes for the RGY section, I suspect. So that's going to be what, 42 bytes. Just looking for any patterns here really. So if we've got 3 times 7 is definitely 21. Okay, so in decimal so this ENE, if you just look at ENE, that is 21 bytes of definition. If you look at that in hex, that's 15. Okay, so hex 15. Now in this routine we load the X with 14, which is obviously 1 less than 15, but when it comes down here it decrements the X and then waits for it to go past 0 before it carries on and exits the routine. So what that tells me is this is actually counting 21 pixels, oh sorry, 21 bytes of memory, which is exactly what that is. So this looks like it's copying from somewhere called 4840, storing it in 4400, which is where the ENE is, and it's copying from 4855 to 4440, which is where the RGY is, interestingly. So this looks like it's copying, maybe it's just giving us the original energy bar, you know, basically full energy, so it's fully populated. So we'll have a look at that memory location, 4840 and 4855. I think they are going to be quite important. Let's just add that to the notes. So we think that's energy bar source data, maybe. Okay, so we think it's from there and from there. Okay. We will see. So what we can do is just go and have a look at 4840 and 4855 and see. Now 4855, that looks like, yeah, it's going to be 15 bytes. Yeah, so I'm wondering if it basically just stores these as similar to character data in consecutive memory. So let's go to 4840 and see what we get. Ah, boom, there we go. Look at that. So this is the fully populated energy bar. So at the start of the game, when you've got full energy, this looks like the data. So I suspect what it will do at the start of the game, I think it's going to call on this routine, which is 4840. So there we go. So yeah, so I think it's going to so copy the full energy defs. I think that's what it's going to do. So I think this will just get called at the start of the game. And then I suspect this, which is what I thought it was, would be the routine that would essentially change this, change the energy bar when you got hit by a missile. So what we'll do is, so if I stick a breakpoint on, we'll restart the game. I'll stick a breakpoint here, so we can see when that gets called. And then, oh, sorry, that's the, we think that's the update. So I'll put a breakpoint on there. And I'll also put a breakpoint on here. And see where it, see how many times it gets called. I suspect start of the game we're going to get a call here, so we'll hit that breakpoint. And then during the game, either constantly or when there's a collision, when we get shot, we'll see this breakpoint get hit. So let's do that. So we're on OC72. So OC72, there we go, let's stick a breakpoint on that. And what was the other one? OC99? 99 looks like, yeah. Okay. So we've got a breakpoint on OC72 and then we've got an OC99. So I think OC72 is going to be called at the start of the game, and then OC99 I think anytime we get hit by a bullet. In fact, the game's running, so let's just let the game run again and see which breakpoint hits. There, okay, I've just been shot. For some reason the program counters over there, I'm not entirely sure why. Right, reloaded it. Don't know what was going on. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so we're going to put some breakpoints on. Let's just turn this one off. So we're going to put some breakpoints. Okay, OC72. So let's go to OC72. 72. Okay, so we think this is the set up those energy sprites, and then the other one was OC99. OC99, which is here. I think that's the sprite. Okay, let's try that one. Oh no, this is called. Yeah, okay, that's probably fine. Right, where are we? Let's go up to the top. Right, so game is running. Let's start the game if we can. Turn the joystick back on. There we go. Start the game. Now, in theory we'll hit the breakpoint at OC72, I think, before we get into the game, and then once we're in the game, when there's a collision, I think we'll get hit at OC99 or thereabouts. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. Just off the ready screen, we've got OC72 has been hit. Let's just go and look at the memory 4440. So if you remember, this was where the sprite definition for the energy bar was going to be. Let's turn off the multicolour. Okay, it's still, yeah, okay, it's there from the previous game. Even though I've reset the machine, it's still in memory by the looks of it. So let's just step through this routine. What I think we'll see is the full energy bar being copied into this over here. So let's just see what happens with that. There you see it do it line by line. Yep, there we go. That's exactly what it's doing. It's copying. So it's copying it into the energy, sorry, the ENE and the RGY. As you can see that there and there. So as we cycle through this, it's doing that. Yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. So this is basically putting the energy bar to where it should be full energy to start with. So this is the start of the game. Copy. So once it finishes that, which is close to doing now, it's almost there. Yeah, we'll go down there. We'll return out of the routine here. Now I suspect, thinking about it, so we've copied that data in this routine as the start of the game. It's also putting this value in OCC3. Now, this energy bar, we said it was 6 characters wide, which I think is going to be. So if it's 6 characters wide, 8 pixels per character, so 6 characters, so that's going to be 48 dots wide. And if you look at that, 48 wide is hex 30. Now here we're putting the value of 30 into this memory location OCC3. So I'm wondering, is that something that's going to be particularly important? Seems a bit of a coincidence, doesn't it? So let's just note this OCC3, I think it was, OCC3, yeah, that's the one. So is this the actual energy value? Maybe. It would make sense, wouldn't it, that if your energy bar is 48 pixels across, if your energy is 48, or hex 30, and then you take one off it, you lose 1 pixel. Makes perfect sense. So I think that is actually quite relevant. Anyway, let's carry on. So let's unfreeze that. Okay, so it's gone into that routine again, curiously, I think. Oh, see, yes. Why has it done that? That's bizarre. Why has it done that twice? Okay, we're now in the game. Okay, so it called that routine twice for some reason. Why did it do that? No idea. I'll investigate later. Anyway, so let's go over to the next routine. So we think when we get hit by a bullet, which we're about to get hit, there's one there just about to hit us. I expect a break on this OC99, so let's see what happens. OC99, boom, there we go, breakpoint. So there's been a collision with a bullet, so I'm losing energy. And you might have noticed there, what's the first value? It loads OCC3, which I think is the energy, which is, let's go to OCC3, OCC3. So OCC3 is that one now. It's a bit hard to see, but it's so that'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, yeah, which is currently 2E. Yeah, so we've just come off 48, so we lost a couple of It's a couple of energy points maybe, not sure. Okay, let's restart. So you can see we've lost a bit of energy. We've hit that break point again. So I wonder if that's twice it's... We're just getting hit by many bullets here. Let's just pause it. OCC3, if that is, yes, we're down to 29, so we've lost a few. I think there might have been many bullets that just hit us at the same time, so let's carry on. So, anytime bullet hits us, I think we're going to hit this point again, so let's let that go. Boom, there we go, back here. Okay, so this routine, OC99, is definitely the bit that's changing. I was painting the energy bar, and I think that OCC3 is the value that it's using. So LDA with OCC3, so it's pushing the accumulator, doing a few shifts, compares. This ER with OCC4, I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll have to investigate this a little bit longer, I think. Okay, so let's just let the game carry on, and we'll keep an eye on this OCC3, which down there, I don't know if you can see, I'm just looking at 2 hex 28 OCC3, so let's carry on with the game. Let's take the breakpoint off there because we're going to keep hitting that. Okay, so let's just get going on. So look at that OCC3, we're down to 06. There we go. It's just gone past 0 down to FF. So you could think of that as being -1. It's gone past 0 and we've hit game over. So I've got a very, very sneaky suspicion that OCC3 is the energy value. Okay, so if we now have a look for OCC3 in the code somewhere, what we're looking for is some code that takes the value of OCC3. If it's less than 0 or equals 0, exit the main loop. So there we are. Okay, so that's at the start where we basically put 48 into your energy. The next bit, I've got something here which is decrementing the energy, so that's reducing it by 1 every time. Also decrement 0B, whatever that is. So I think this could be the bit that reduces. EPLOC99. So I wonder if this is being called by the collision routine. Decrement OCC3, EPL there. Okay, so that one's definitely interested. So that's decrement OCC3. If it's still positive, so 0 or above, we go on to OC9, which changes the energy bar. Otherwise, it looks like it might just... Is this just exiting the routine? Let's see if anyone else accessed OCC3 that we know about. That's just the address itself. This is loading contents of OCC3. Let's see what's this doing here. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, there's only a couple of references to it. So I think this decrement OCC3 I think that's the energy in OCC3, and it's saying once it goes past 0, EPL to OC99. Sorry. If it hasn't gone below 0, we carry on and we sort the energy bar out, we repaint it. If it is at 0, we get to this part of the code, which seems to do a return and do whatever it does. Maybe that loading an 01 into 0F is a flag for the routine that it returns to say, boom, game over. We can check that one. But the first port of call is let's see if we can take out this decrement OCC3. See what happens. So OCC3 is that's going to be 3 bytes, so we just need to take out 3 bytes, that's OC8F. So let's go to OC8F, which is a bit further along. OC8F, here we go. Decrement OCC3. Okay, so let's get rid of the breakpoint. Let's move down to OCC3. Decrement OCC3. So we'll go in here and we'll put 3 knobs. And that will essentially replace the decrement. Okay, and it doesn't cause any problems because it replaces that decrement instruction completely with, because the knob's only 1 byte. It replaces the 3 byte decrement instruction with also. Okay, so if we now again carry on, we can get rid of the breakpoints, I guess. Again, run, see what happens when we go into it again. We should still have a full energy bar, as we would expect. Keyboard seems to be a bit. Boom, there we go. Okay, so back in the game. See what happens to my energy when I get shot. It works perfectly. Unlimited energy. So let's just add that to energy value is yes, it is. No idea what's on my keyboard. Yes, it is. So in the game, let's go back to big screen. Turn the sound back on as well. Don't know if you can hear it, but. Yeah. Not sure what that corrupt sprite is, but never mind. So we have. See where all the bad guys are. See if we can get some bad guys coming up trying to shoot me. There we go. I have now got a proper Rambo, as in invincible. So a simple poke to make infinite energy on Rambo would be OC8F. Poke OC8F with the EA, OC90, OC91, or decimal equivalents, that's all you need to do. So let's see, out of curiosity, let's see what happens when we change that OCC30 to something bigger. Let's call it 3.1. Starts a bit of corruption. Give it a bit more energy to see with it. See if it does anything weird. There's a 2. Get a bigger number to see what happens. And let's see if we're doing anything strange. There you have it. Bit of reverse engineer on, well, simple engineering, reverse engineer on Rambo to get infinite energy. Hopefully that's given you a good idea as well how this thing works, how useful this debugger is. Nice piece of kit, very impressed. And there's also other menus on there. You can see things like some more information on what SID chip's doing, some more data on what the VIC chip's up to. There's a nice zoom view as well, which doesn't seem to work very well there. There's a VIC editor view, which is really quite nice, where you can see the character's data and you can edit things. So this is editing the character map. You can see in the game itself it's painted on screen, so I don't know, is that. So you can test and see, is there something like how are the collisions working? Are the collisions just using the screen itself or as a collision map, a separate collision map. And look at that, I'm stuck. So so the game is literally it's looking at what's under the sprite on the character map itself or on the screen. I think that's just screen data it's writing to. So it's actually checking to see what's on screen, and its collisions are based on what's on screen. So it looks like probably is. Oh no, there's another collision. Characters. Where have I gone? I'm lost. There we are. Yeah, it's just checking to see what's on the screen. So there's no separate collision map. It's literally what's on screen. I think changing the energy value might have overwritten some sprite definitions for some of the bad guys or some of the bullets. I think they're just bullets, aren't they? So I think that change, making the energy bar higher than it should be, I think that's what that's done. My keyboard is a bit weird. I can't do anything. I have no idea what's going on. There we go. I've rescued the geezer. Yeah. So so there isn't actually a separate collision map. It's just literally what's on screen. Interesting stuff. So anyway, there are some very nice tool. Very nice.